I think the question I get asked more often than any other question is, how do I get more work from my staff? Meaning that, Gulraj, how do I delegate better? Well, I have good news and I have bad news. First, the bad news. You will never get done all the work from your to-do list in this lifetime. And you will probably go to sleep feeling guilty or helpless on many nights or most nights, because you'll wonder, what could I have done more? What could I have done differently? Now the good news, like any pyramid scam or multi-level marketing scheme, the person who's on top usually does less work and makes more money, so long as the people under him or her and the people under those people are actually pretty good workers. And when at the end of the day you count all the results, you feel like, you know what, I did a lot, we did a lot. But for that, you need to master delegation. Hello, my fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Gulraj Shahpuri. I'm a business coach and a leadership trainer, and I help people get back on their growth trajectories. Now, your greatest skill as a leader is your ability to create more leaders underneath you. Now, the type of people you want under you are people who get the job done. They're resourceful, they're problem solvers, and they don't create their own bottlenecks. Now, the type of people you obviously don't want under you are people that can't solve problems. They come back to you empty-handed, and then you end up becoming your company's biggest problem solver, your company's biggest bottleneck, and not to mention the captain of a sinking ship. Business owners, let's be clear, those that cannot be delegated to because they cannot solve problems are a liability, and this will reflect badly on you and your business's performance. Now, what you need to do is you have to have eagles on your team. And where will you get them? Because they're just about 3% of the workforce. Well, they're going to be somewhere. You have to find them, and you have to be able to identify them so you can teach them how to fly in formation. So we're going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and I'm going to teach you how you can unleash the limitless potential of your staff and delegate effectively. Number one, you need the right type of people. You need eagles, like I just said. And what's the opposite of eagles? Ducks. Now, let me tell you the difference between ducks and eagles. Ducks swim around in a pond and quack, quack, quack. This can't be done. Quack, quack, quack. I don't know how. Quack, quack, quack. Nobody's ever been able to do it. And eagles, they soar above in the sky and they look at the big picture and they take responsibility for what they do. Now, if you have ducks on your team, you have to find a way to get rid of those ducks. You need to make room for the eagles. If you don't know how to get rid of ducks, please watch my 2-minute Tuesday video on how to terminate people. I'll put it in the description below. And if you want to know how to hire eagles, please watch the video that's in the description below on how to hire the right type of people. Number two, when any work falls on your plate, ask yourself, can somebody else in my company do this? And in your heart, you know the answer is yes, they can. But usually we don't delegate work out. Why? Because we know there's a skill gap between us and what people can do. You know what? This is going to be a huge return on your time. If you teach somebody how to do what you already know, you're going to reap the rewards of this for a long time. And whom should you teach? Anybody that's worth less than you. And that's everybody in your company. Number three, figure out what you're worth. Take your company's profit last year, add to it what you drew from the company. With those figures, divide them by 50. Why 50? Because that's approximately the number of weeks you're going to work in a year. And then divide it by 50 again, because that's the least amount of time you're going to work per week. Now, that'll give you your hourly rate. Any task you're doing, figure out, is this task worth more or less than my hourly rate? And usually it'll be worth much less. That means you have to delegate it. Number four, make sure everybody in your company is delegatable. This is going to be easier than you think. Number one, go down to the description below. I put a link to a document called the 10 levels of delegation. Number two, you have to print it out. Number three, identify where each person in your company is on those 10 levels. And number four, get them to the next level. Pretty soon you're going to have a staff that's much more capable than they were before. Number five is master a concept I just mentioned a minute ago, return on time. When you teach somebody something, no matter how poorly they do it, eventually they will figure it out, and the return on investment, your dividends, will be tremendous. Now, here's what you have to do. Realize that yes, it takes a lot longer to teach people than we initially think, but realize also that whatever is worth doing poorly when somebody begins. Over time, they will figure it out. Number six is do not entertain somebody who brings a problem to you unless they also bring 3 solutions to you. This will teach them how to think for themselves, and over time, they'll stop coming to you. Number 7 is make sure your people have great systems. The average employee only works 50 to 60% of their capacity, and that has to change. And how it's going to change is make sure they're great at making to-do lists, and make sure they have a good system called their weekly, monthly, yearly planners. Now, the average employee cannot make to-do lists, they don't know how, and the average employee has no such system, and you are responsible for that. Yes, like I said, it's going to be your job, but don't worry, you're going to get a huge return on time. And the best part is making systems for one employee are going to be pretty similar for making systems for another employee as well. But along with systems, because before you get these huge dividends and payouts, remember you need a great auditing system as well, or your whole system is going to fall apart before you can say Jenga. Well, that's it. Time's up. I'm going to give you a bonus tip on delegation, and this is called upward delegation, and don't let this happen to you. I'll tell you what this is. It's when you give somebody some work and they bring you back their work and say, could you check this? I've done it like you asked, and you realize that they've not given it their best. That's when you have to put a stop to that habit right away, because if you let them get away with it once and twice, eventually it becomes a habit and you're going to be stuck correcting people's work. Never let this happen to you. In the comments below, I want you to do two things. First, let me know which of these techniques was your favorite delegation technique. And if you have a technique that I haven't mentioned, make sure you let the world know. Number two, download my levels of delegation sheet. Just by downloading it and printing it, you've already done half the work. And when you do the other half of the work, you're going to see how beneficial it is. If you like the concepts of this video, take a moment and press the like button. It'll go a long way in telling YouTube's algorithm that other people are also going to find this content useful. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you part of our family. And if you haven't seen our other 2-Minute Tuesday videos, just click over here. Or if you want to see what YouTube has to recommend to you, just click over here. Either way, you can't go wrong. Until next time, it's over and out for now. I'm Gulraj Shahpuri, and I mean business.